With our team, we're going to present you Grace, which will bring a quiet normality with people affected with a condition called essential tremor. So this is my father. He has been a physician, a surgeon, a very good pianist player, and a very social person. This all changed 5 years ago when he was diagnosed with essential tremor. His life changed, and also mine. And this is what keeps us motivated as a team to develop this project and to get focused to get a better quality of life for him. So, what is essential tremor? It's a neurological condition that causes rhythmic movements of head, voice, legs, trunks, or hands. It is estimated 10 million American people are affected with this condition, and countless worldwide. Less than 60% of people find treatment useful. It makes everyday tasks, such as eating, writing, or even having a cup of water, difficult, and sometimes even impossible. It brings shame to them, and they get socially excluded from all the activities. This is Dani, a case of study. She was born with essential tremor in the upper limbs. We are featuring the device. Please look at her facial expression. This is the first time that she gets to see her upper limbs without trembling. It's a magical moment for her and for us as developers. So, what is Grace? Grace is a biomedical device that controls the tremors produced by essential tremor and Parkinson's disease. It's not invasive. It doesn't require any drugs for operation. It's portable, subtle, and painless. It works by sending electrical pulses through electrodes that are connected to some muscles involved in the tremor. So, what can people do right now to treat this condition? They surgeries. The main one is the deep brain stimulation, in which electrodes are placed in their brain, a very invasive way. They can have drugs, such as propranolol or primidone, but these drugs are not prescribed for this disease. As a secondary effect, they get to diminish the amplitude of the tremors. Also, you can have Liftware, Google Spoon, but it's just for eating. Another option is GyroGlove, but it's a very noisy motor in top of your hand. And then we have Grace, which will be sold at $400. It has no side effects. It works for all the cases that we've developed, and it attacks the cause. So we divided our project into 3 stages. The first one, we have invested $22K. For the second stage, we will need $30K, and for our final stage, we will need $325K. So what we have accomplished until this day? We have a portable hardware, which is useful. We have a patent that's been issued right now in the United States Patent and Trademark Office. But most importantly, we have done trials with a very successful rate. Our key partners in this are Corfo, a production and development corporation back in Chile, CETRAM, which is like International Essential Tremor Foundation in Chile, and we have an investor, we have a mentor, a very successful businessman in Chile. So for our second stage, which is our upgrade stage, we will need to get the automatization of our device. Also, we will need to work on the Food and Drug Administration approval to enter in the US market. And finally, we will need a PCB assembly, a redesign of our product to get a more ergonomic design for all patients. Our key partners here, we are seeking for clinical research organizations that will give us the medical validation that we need to sell in the United States. Also, as for the next week, we are going to have a meeting with an executive officer of Sanofi to create a partnership between them and us. As for the third stage, the production and the selling stage, we would like to get the externalization of our production and manufacturing. For this, we will work with NextLogic, which is a United States-based company in California. Also, we will need distribution channels. For this, we will work with the International Essential Tremor Foundation. And also, we would like to sell product over the counter in Walmart and pharmacies. So here's a little graph of the third stage in which we'll start selling. So the bar graphs in blue are the production lines. We will get in the first year 50 units, the second year 200 units, and there's go on. And in the red line, you can see our accumulate EBITDA. The important point here is in our third year, we will get our break even, in which our profits will be more than our cost of production. Also, as a reminder, the digital health market is expected to have a value of $206 billion by 2020. So our corporations works as an economy of scale. So basically, if we rise our production, our total cost gets lower. The important thing here is that if we get to produce more than 10,000 units, we will have a margin of $297. So what are the good news? The good news is that we've been in national and international media. More importantly, the BBC had an interview for us that will be uploaded the first week of September to their page. Also, we have received a lot of emails for people asking, when are you going to sell the device? When are you going to do next trials? People want a product and a cheaper option for this condition. And also, as a milestone, we are here in the United States of America presenting for you. So, for our next release, we'll get a bidirectional EMR integration in which users, developers, and physicians will get feedback on Grace. Battery consumptions, how many times it went on, the correlation between what we're sending and how the tremor has been diminished. Also, we would like to develop an app for users and for us, the developers. Just in case, for getting feedback of Grace, the correlation of the tremors diminution, battery consumption, and all other features. Here, you can see patients, you can judge yourself with Grace and without Grace. You can see the stabilization that they get. Most importantly, in the top here, we can see a Parkinsonian person with the resting tremor and the rolling uphill motion, typical from Parkinsonian guys. The important thing here is that in the afternoon, you will see a German team that is also working with Parkinson's disease. It's a field that we'd like to research because our product is mainly for essential tremor, but we have done successful trials with Parkinson's disease persons, and we would like to create a partnership between them. So, our team, Alex Cariban, mining engineering, Federico Jensen, computer science engineering, We got a faculty advisor, Cedric Little, which works as a businessman, an advisor for us. And we also have Pablo Brato, which is a very successful businessman back in Chile and works as a mentor for us. So we've done this project to get the quality of my dad back so he can play piano again. So he will be able to get back into a surgery room and to get a smile out of his face again. I would like all you to invite you to move with grace. Thank you very much. You need a microphone for questions?
So first off, thanks for going first. That's always hard, I know. So you guys did a great job. Second, your passion is just contagious. People understand why you're doing this, and I think that's fantastic. Certainly seems like a nice niche, meaning an area that is needed. There's a need in the market, if you will. So again, I think a great idea, a great path of something to go out for. The question I'll have for you is, I can see this growing. I can see it growing substantially, especially if you get your patent and it's very successful, right? So as you think in terms of the future, and we saw your graphs on financials, we saw your I think you got the engineering down, right? When you think of your business model and you think about what you think you need to round out your team as you grow, I know you're early and I know you're doing engineering now. What do you see as the next step as far as the talent that you need to help you actually succeed in this business?
Yeah, so we've been working back in Chile with some electrical engineering, marketing people, but it's like a part-time thing. So eventually for the next step, the upgrade stage, we will need to contract these persons to get like 24/7 hours dedicated to the project. I think that's the main thing we need to do right now.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I'll echo Jack's comments. It's invigorating to see the passion of the project overall. So it's fun to see. You mentioned FDA approval and things like that. Talk about the barriers to entry to scale. Do we need a FDA approval? How long does that process look like in terms of the patent process? Talk about the timeline and the main barriers for you guys.
Okay, so about the FDA, we wouldn't need much time because our device is in the class 2. And there's also there are pre-marketed substantial equivalent products in the market. So we will need only the pre-market notification with its document that we have a response 90 days after we send the document.
That's good.
Well done, guys, and this truly is a need, so thank you for your hard work on this. As it relates to your patent and the intellectual property you have, can you talk a little bit about where the core of the patent is and how you keep competitors out of your space once you get this approved?
So our main difference is that we've got a patent already that's been issued 2 years ago. And with that, our core is like the methods of the device itself. And also as Milestone is our key partners that we will use. We have a meeting with Sanofi to create a partnership between them and us. And that's it pretty much.
So to follow up, so a competitor couldn't take apart your device and manufacture, somebody way bigger than you guys, take apart your device and manufacture it and try to compete with you based on the patent that you have?
So our main idea is like to get a partnership with physicians like hospitals, movement disorder centers, And we also, the patent, we have the algorithm that makes the device unique. So that's the main thing. They get electronic thing the same, but the way that the algorithm is working, it's the difficult way that is what we claim, and what makes difference for if a big company comes and gets to like copy the product.
Okay. And do you need to continue to enhance and refine that algorithm, or is that development work done and it's really more about the ergonomics of the device, as you mentioned, and scaling production?
No, it actually, when in the second stage, the upgrade stage, the automatization of the device, we'll need to get more input data so we can get a better algorithm of use. That's it. So it's not like it's going to stay there. We need to improve it, but it's all set in the patent.
Okay. And when you get to the third phase of your company, so after FDA approval, which you said, in another year, how big do you think your company will be in order to execute on the business plan that you showed us? $300 per unit is a very healthy margin. So then it's about unit sales. But how big do you think your organization needs to be to get the word out, to support it?
So our company doesn't need to be that big, because we only do like the management, the research, and the better algorithm. That's it. So we don't need to be such a big company. We only will manage things and do the research.
Well done, gentlemen. Congratulations on going into a phase of entrepreneurship in your lives and doing that in a second language. Very impressive. My question is, it's clear there's a need. I can see from the videos that you have touched people in a way that makes possible things they didn't think were possible. What kind of feedback have you gotten from physicians and being able to incorporate this kind of treatment in the work that they do?
So we have done trials. Actually, when we get back to our country, we're going to work with physicians, and we're actually they're pretty happy with our device, because we're doing the same protocols that the International Essential Tremor Foundation does. All the Archimedes and the drinking water, the spilling, and they're very looking forward to work with us, because they see the device is going to work. That's it, pretty much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I want to remind everyone in the audience to make sure they're using the polling software, so we can get questions in from the audience. I don't see any yet, unless my system's not working right. But please feel free to submit questions, and I'll get them up to the panelists here. Thank you.
Thank you.